Hello, Sumo fans. Happy 2025.
We made it to the new year, and because it's January, it means Sumo is here.
I know you're all anxiously awaiting the new Sumo year. It's pretty exciting. The tournament's a little bit later than usual because of the... I don't know why they put the Bansuke early.
The calendar has it on like the 13th, the 14th. Like this is as late into the month as it can get, and they brought the Bansuke out a week early because they bring the Bansuke out for Christmas. So we had this weird 2-week dead zone.
Yeah.
Where normally we'll get the Bansuke and then like less than a week later we're talking about it because the tournament's about to happen.
Right, and now it's like we have that extra week, which is cool, but it's just different, and it will set the tone for the rest of the year. So if you're used to tournaments being at certain points, you might want to double check, like I had to. So anyway, a lot of stuff happened. 2024 was a little crazy. We thought, this Takanosho retiring was the biggest retirement of the year, but at the same time, then right at the tail end, we get Onosato retiring. Same exact age as Takanosho, rival since childhood, and then Kyoku Taisei. And I just wonder what kind of symbolism this is giving us for the new year. The changing of the guard is just becoming more and more real by the second.
A little unfortunate that Onosho's injury sort of overtook him.
Yeah.
There was an interview, I think, with Takanosho. He's just like, oh, man, it was a shame we couldn't keep going or something like that.
Yeah, with Takanosho, I think the writing was on the wall.
Yes.
I think it surprised people with Onosho because you look at like a Hokuto Fuji who's still going.
Still going.
Ikioi, all these different guys who were hurt for a long time and pushed their way for years, and Onosho just couldn't.
Yeah. Well, if your body says no, there's only so much you can fight it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's now out of sumo as well because he couldn't get elder stock. So he's going into the skincare industry. And there's actually kind of a cool story about why. I guess he has some skin conditions, so he wants to help others. So, he's going to be putting some good out into the world. Solid guy. Maybe we'll get some good interviews with him.
It is. This is what's kind of interesting about sumo is because it has that sort of that military-esque kind of a calling. When you leave, some people will stick with sumo. They'll do like a Chenko restaurant, or they'll do something sumo related, and other people will just hard left veer off into some random passion that they've had for the last 2 decades. Or
if you're Ichinojo, you just leave the whole country.
Yeah, you just leave the whole country.
You're like, I'm done.
Yeah. Harumafuji went back to Mongolia and he built a school.
Yeah. Tochinoshin selling wine.
Yeah. This is what's so fascinating about this. Well, one of the many things fascinating about sumo.
Yes, if I ever get that T-shirt out, I am working in the T-shirt store. I do not like change. That is why I like sumo. This is befitting of this. So, now that we got the retirements out of the way, and feel free to comment about your feelings on the wrestlers in the comment section below, let's get to our top guy, Terunofuji. So the word on the street is that he's actively pushing to return.
Yeah, so I think in November, there was no rumblings. He paid lip service to I'm trying, but everybody was like, it ain't happening. But this time he's like, oh, I'm getting training, I got my body ready. January is now a maybe.
Strange. And I wonder if we're doing a posturing thing where it's like, oh yeah, I'm coming back, and then right the day before we've seen this happen.
Yes. I would say it is not a guarantee until he does the ring entering ceremony on day 1. Also not a guarantee that he'll be here until he survives the first week without 4 losses.
It's very tenuous times. You get the butterflies in your stomach. If he does show up, oh man, it's go time. This could be everything. If he doesn't show, well, take a deep breath and wait again.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he shows up.
That'll be probably be the big question for him, because if he does show up, he's proven that even if he's hobbled together, he can put dirt on almost anyone here.
Yeah, now it'd be very interesting if he does come back to see if there's been such an increase with Kotozakura and Hoshoryu and Onosato that they could challenge him this time.
It'll be a proper challenge.
A real proper challenge, exactly. They could not challenge him the last time he was here, which not a good sign for these guys. They're supposed to be potential Yokozuna candidates. One more note on Terunofuji before we move on to these potential Yokozunas. There was this great video that I have not had an opportunity to watch all the way through, with Hakuho, Hatamafuji, Terunofuji, and Isegahama all talking about being Yokozunas. So, interesting little things going on. Terunofuji looked pretty comfortable as the only active Yokozuna, just like, yeah, this is my job.
Yeah, the Isegahama YouTube, they've been pushing stuff out.
Good channel.
Yeah, I think they use automated translations, so there's some stuff that sort of gets lost in the algorithm shuffle, but
it at least makes more sense than when you try to do it with videos that don't put it in. And it's just like words happened.
Yeah, but it's fun, the stuff. There is an uptick in those kinds of stuff. I think things like the sumo food have really shown that's something interesting. So we may get more and more of that stuff coming out of 2025,
especially with sumo going to London. They obviously have decided to reach a branch out to the foreign fan base once again. So we will see. Maybe 2025 will be huge for the foreign fan. We can only hope.
Yeah. And for Terunofuji, I think if he shows up and makes what I would say a good effort in January, this might be it.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, if he pulls out at the last second, then we'll just do this song and dance in March.
Yeah. We really just don't know until it's over. So now we got to talk about the big names, the guys that everybody's paying attention to. Kotozakura maintaining his Ozeki 1 East, 14-1, Yusho winner. The only one who really is guaranteed a Yokozuna promotion with a, like, I think even if he got a Yusho equivalent, would they give it to him?
If it's like a 13-2.
Yeah, so like he's got the best shot right now. Hoshoryu's got an outside chance. So, can he do it now, or are we going to be waiting a while?
It is all eyes on him. It is everyone staring at Kotozakura. Beforehand, he was part of the group. It was sort of him and Hoshoryu were sort of back and forth for a little while, and Onosato sort of stole the limelight. But in January, it is everyone saying to Kotozakura, will you do it?
And, my personal opinion, do it now. If he doesn't do it now, it just gets so much harder. Winning 2 Yusho in a row obviously is extremely difficult, or it would have been done by many more people since then. What are we on, 70? We would get the 74th?
Not many.
Yeah, that's in, 100 years of history or something like that. So I'm not trying to put extra pressure on, but the truth is he knows it too.
This is the theme, is that he's going to have extra pressure on. If he does something like he did in November, that kind of exceptional performance, he's got it in the bag. But can you do what you did in November with every single person staring right at you?
Well, and that's really all it comes down to, because think about it. Unless he's injured, which we're not aware of, there's no reason he shouldn't be able to do the exact same thing physically. Mental is a whole other story. That's the reason why you need both to get somewhere. I saw just kind of right before we started recording that he did a lot of practice bouts. Like, he's taking this super seriously. This is the first time we've seen a real serious contender since Terunofuji, because all the eyes are on him and he's capable of doing it. So you can feel the hype, you can feel the energy, you can feel like we might actually get something special, but it could come crashing down so hard if he can't handle the pressure, and that makes me very nervous.
What interests me about Kotozakura, and by extension all of the Ozeki, is if Terunofuji comes back and you want that 13-2, again, 13-2 being the minimum, maybe it's a 12-3 if it's like a playoff kind of a thing. You've got to beat Terunofuji, Hoshoryu, or Onosato, and then sweep the rest.
Yeah. What an insane prospect.
So if he gets one loss in the first week,
it might already
he's
be done.
already on the back foot.
And that's the issue. Like, if he can start off and just one day at a time, just win, and don't let anything get in your head, fine. Gets a loss on the first day, he's already going to be messed up in the head.
This is what I'm going to be interested in. If he gets a 7-0, even like a 6-1 out of that first week, you're like, okay, he's got the momentum.
And he's always got Hoshoryu right there, breathing down his neck, sitting right there at ringside or on his way. Like, they're always going to be there. And so Yeah, he's got to be extremely focused and forget all of this.
All of this. And
one match at a time.
if Teru comes back, day 15.
Yeah.
Because those are the two highest ranked people.
That's the reason they want it.
Yes.
I think what they're saying to Terunofuji is, look, we really want to see a passing of the torch moment. The longer you sit out, the less likely, A, you're going to be able to fight, and B, that you're going to get a chance to affect the Yokozuna race at all. So, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him. Like, show up so we can have our moment. If you're not all there, great, because then Kotozakura's going to take it, you know?
This is what's going to be very exciting out of Kotozakura. A lot of this stuff. And all of it is at the end of a long road.
Yeah. And once you make it to Yokozuna, like I said, unless you get hurt, and even if you get hurt, you get to take as much time off as you want now. But now the pressure's off. You can just do what you need to do, and it's done. This is the last hurdle you need. Now you have to represent Yokozuna, but this is really the last hurdle, and now you can move forward and just be something instead of looking to be something.
This is an exciting moment. Definitely a nervous moment, as you said before.
Yeah, I feel quite nervous.
Yeah, I think the last time we got this close was Kirishima.
Yeah, and then it just fell apart so quick.
One loss away from it, and then got injured and had a collapse.
Which is why I said he needs to do it now. You can't let anything else, forget it, man. It's now or never.
I wouldn't say or never.
I know, but you have to think it that way. You have to, because so many things can go wrong. Why even let yourself have that opportunity for something to go wrong? Just do it. Be done.
He did go to his grandfather's grave and promise. Promise. Yeah. Peak Japanese culture. He went to the old Kotozakura's grave and said that we're going to do a Yokozuna ring entering ceremony in front of your grave.
Oh man. Okay.
So you want a now or never? That's what he did.
Well, he's putting it all out there like it is now or never.
I think he's in that mindset.
Oh, man. I just eat that stuff up. I love it. Okay, so we have to move on, as exciting as it is for Kotozakura, because we have Hoshoryu. In this particular instance, he's like little brother. And I'm sure he never wants to be little brother.
No.
But unfortunately, that's the position he's in, only by this, just a fraction. If things go just a little bit different in November, they reverse roles.
That's how thin of an edge they're on.
So, I mean, this rivalry is going to be thick. So, he had a 13-2. He lost in the craziest way. It was really Kotozakura putting the pressure on him. At the same time, he slipped something we never see Hoshoryu do. So, I bet you he, had this in his nightmares. For the first 5 days after the tournament, he relived this over and over again.
It probably took him a week of punching walls.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be his stablemate for a while.
That Teppo pole got broken in half.
Yeah. So, they said with a Yusho, I'm guessing, all they said is they will put him in contention.
He's in contention.
He has an opportunity, but that's a blanket. Let's see what you can do.
They dangled it in front of him just to say that it's possible. So, beforehand, talking about Kotozakura, he has to beat some of these guys. Nothing short of a clean sweep is going to get Hoshoryu that cup.
Yeah, he literally has to go Zensho Yusho.
It is a 15-0 or 14-1, and he has to get the cup. Right,
which is only so few have done such a thing. Only Hakuho came in and made it look so easy.
Yeah, maybe you can do a weird Goedo once in a century 15-0.
True. If Goedo can do it, anybody can muster it up. I'm not degrading Goedo.
He is. If he gets fired up, if he decides that he's sick and tired of the second fiddle,
I feel
he might.
I don't know.
He might.
I feel stressed thinking about what might be on Hoshoryu's mind right now. He is like the Vegeta character in this scenario. I gotta prove myself. I gotta win. But all of that aggression and all of that energy can turn on you. So while at the same time he has to use it as his fuel, because that is his fuel, to be perfect means being so focused that you have to tame and harness it and mold it into the perfect weapon. And that is going to be quite an uphill climb. A lot of people that are not Hoshoryu fans, eternal optimists, The non-Hoshoryu fans don't think he has any shot of becoming Yokozuna.
As an embellishment to people listening in, Maria did an excellent molding hand gesture in front of me.
I was doing Rasengan, you know?
Yeah, so there was definitely molding going on. But this has been his Achilles heel and his strength.
Right.
So, like you said, he has to lean into it and at the same time pull it back.
Yeah.
And find that perfect balance.
I feel like that slip at the end was an example of so much like in the body.
He took the gamble. Mm-hmm. It didn't pay off. Now, part of me thinking back on it is if he had played it safe, he also would have lost.
Probably. He probably had to go for broke.
So Hoshoryu realized that Kotozakura was he just couldn't get it done. And then Hoshoryu just risked it all because playing it safe wasn't going to get it. And to Hoshoryu's credit, that kind of mindset got him Ozeki.
And that kind of mindset gets you Yokozuna.
Yeah, so it is that microscopic amount of pushing it hard, fueling the fire, and then somehow now I'm doing molding.
Yeah, the molding is really what it is. I know this for this one moment if we just had a camera. But it's going to be hard for him. I mean, no matter what you say, Hoshoryu is significantly smaller than Kotozakura. It makes it very difficult for him to pull the throw. The throw is one of his main weapons that, he can get almost anybody. And he can throw Kotozakura, but he's hurt his hip doing it before. So I hope he's got a plan because the only way he's getting Yokozuna is through Kotozakura, who has already claimed it for himself. I mean...
It's exciting.
Think about this. Seriously, you could cut it with a knife. I feel the tension in this room, and we are far away from Japan. So best of luck to Hoshoryu. It's going to be, it's probably going to be a rough tournament for him in terms of he's going to be amped.
Well, they talk about the double Yokozuna promotion. The very realistic expectation is that there will be broken dreams.
Yeah. And we always talk about how great sumo can be when somebody accomplishes something. But it can also hurt you for months, for years.
Something else to keep in mind is that there's also a reality that neither of them get it.
Uh-huh. And that we have seen how much more, yeah. We got a third guy waiting in the wings who's just like, and honestly, I don't think he has any pressure. So let's move on to Onosato. 9-6, we pretty much called it. We said he's going to have an off tournament, but an off tournament for him is a 9-6.
I did 9-6.
And there you go. So he survived Shinozeki, which no one can do, with a 9-6. He didn't go Kataban, and he did decent. I mean, 10 would have been better, but he had a lot on his plate, and he's still very green. So if things hold the way they do, this is actually when he's going to come back in a blaze of glory because he had his off tournament.
So we were talking a lot about Kotozakura versus Hoshoryu, Hoshoryu versus Kotozakura, the both of them versus Terunofuji. Onosato coming in and wiping the board with all of them.
Ooh.
And saying, "You're not being Yokozuna before me." We want to talk. I'm not gonna say the heel turn.
That's a heel turn, though.
But if you want, if the collective unconscious is saying someone is Yokozuna out of January, and Onosato comes and puts them all in the dirt.
Oh.
So in that situation, Kotozakura might get the usual equivalent.
Right.
But if Onosato has that cup and Kotozakura is 12-3, 11-4, then we go into March and it's all on Onosato.
Right. And that's the crazy thing about sumo, right? These momentum flips that are like that. It doesn't take several tournaments. It takes one tournament and everything flips on its head. And you're like, forget what I just talked about for 15 minutes. It's all changed. Now, with Onosato, the one thing I will say is he looked very beatable. And, we talk about fatigue. His losses didn't look like fatigue losses. They looked like people figured him out. People weren't having it. Like Kotozakura was so focused, he had stuff on his mind, and Hoshoryu was chasing. They didn't have time for this rookie all of a sudden. He went from dominating them to we don't have time for your nonsense right now.
The loss to Daieisho, getting inside, where Onosato looked lost. Very interesting. The loss to Wakatakakage, where he gets outmaneuvered and out-leveraged. Very interesting. The loss to Takanosho, where he came at him from 30 angles at once and went absolutely nuts. If this is the stuff that people are figuring out on Onosato, then January may look very different than what we think.
Right, but here's the flip, and this is why, once again, this is a near impossible tournament to predict. Onosato learns very quickly. What I've noticed about him, a lot of people call it boring, because he just goes forward, basically. But if you're really paying attention, he's not just going forward. He's made a lot of adjustments to the way he's moving or the way he's grabbing you, and he's laser focused. And he's got, I keep calling him Kisanosato. What is his name now? Because it was Daieisho, and now it's Nisho no Seki.
Nisho no Seki Oyakata.
Okay. So he's got Nisho no Seki, who's quite the thinker himself. And the two of them are obsessively in there, watching tape, working angles, making a plan. And because Onosato is a big guy, and he's smart, he might make the adjustments from the losses. The losses could help him. Because now he could go back and say, I didn't think I could get beat like that. Well, let me just do this, this, and this, and that won't happen again. This is what we learn every time he steps into the ring. He is the first guy I've seen in a while who does make adjustments. So the question is, will he just come in and be a totally different guy, or will he be the mortal that we've seen over and over and over again once we see a hype man?
Yep. So he is getting better every time. January for him is 1, play the massive heel turn foil. Mm-hmm. 2, find out, he can just do well. He can do 10-5, 11-4.
Right, just go in, show up.
Do an Ozeki performance, but then these guys who are just wanting it 100%.
Yeah.
Or maybe we see some new struggles, but I think there is going to be some progress. I will also say, for optimist's sake, if any one of these 3 Ozeki win, then, if Onosato wins, then it's him in March, and then if Hoshoryu wins, it's him in May. We can get into this weird Yokozuna round robin.
Where we just get a new one every couple months. We just get a new one
every other month. And then we're in this very exciting, very tense cycle.
We literally will be tense every tournament for half a year or more.
I don't know if that's something to look forward to, something to be upset about.
I don't know either.
That would be your personal opinion.
Right, we're literally just going to go on a wild ride and we have no idea where it ends.
Just remember your seatbelts.
Yeah, you're going to need them. So, we'll see. We'll see with Onosato. I mean, I'm not making predictions. I'm just not. And then we have Wakamotoharu, Sakiwake 1 East, up from Komusubi 1 East. All of a sudden, he's back again, and he's got a 10-5.
Back to the way he was.
It's taken a while, but he's got himself right back to the Sanyaku spot that was his, where he was going on his Ozeki run. He probably needs... This probably isn't the start of one yet, is it?
I don't think so.
I think he might need another tournament.
I think he was down in the rank and file.
Was it? Yeah, I think so.
So he was 11-4 at Mega Sierra 3. They...
Okay. Sometimes they count it. Sometimes.
If he runs away with it, they might.
Yeah.
Now, I think that now that they have 3 game Ozeki, they're not as hungry for new Ozeki yet.
Well, let's picture a scenario in which it comes down to Kotozakura and Wakamotoharu are both the top guys.
Maybe.
Could you see a Yokozuna Ozeki?
It's possible.
Promotion?
Like, I'll say it's on the table.
Right. I mean, no matter what scenarios you come up with, like, these guys all have to have fantastic tournaments, so it's highly unlikely that 2 people are getting something.
Yeah. He would need a 12-3 for the magical 33.
Could you imagine if that did happen? That'd be pretty cool.
It's possible. It's
probably not going to happen, but
it's there. So I think Wakamotoharu may need another tournament.
Yeah, and there's so much going on and so much hype that this might not be the one. Almost like the energy pushes you right out.
So also, if he needs a 12-3 for 33, so is he beating Terunofuji? Is he beating Kotozakura? Is he beating Hoshoryu? Is he beating Onosato? That's 11-4.
Right, it's already done. And that's if Daieisho decides.
Yeah, and we're just looking. We are looking at the top 4 people on this list, and we're like, "Are you guys gonna beat these?"
I think everybody would probably be happy if Terunofuji didn't come.
Well, they'll be happy. It sort of makes me want him to show up.
Oh, I know. For the fans, we want him to show up.
The fans want him to show up.
And the council wants him to show up.
Yeah. I mean, some of these wrestlers also, I can't help but feel that maybe Kotozakura is thinking I get an extra win, maybe I'm Yokozuna, but I think Kotozakura would want it more
to actually face the
Yokozuna, win or lose.
Right.
Because once Terunofuji's gone, you can't fight him again.
That's true.
Once Terunofuji is gone,
you never get another shot to test your strength.
Like, maybe he comes into the practice ring.
And that ain't the same.
It's never the same.
This is a good point. So probably, unless you really just want the wins at all costs, even the wrestlers are rooting for him to show up.
Yes.
So Wakamotoharu is now in a crappy spot because he can't go any higher.
He is Sekiwaki 1 East. There is no higher.
Right. Now he has the daunting task of starting his Ozeki run again and trying not to lose it. Like, now he's in a I can't lose versus, ooh, look what I can get. So, we'll have to see what happens. There's so many guys who have their eye on the prize that everyone's going to have a rough match every single day.
Isn't that exciting now that we're here?
It's pretty exciting.
Isn't it good to
There's
have...
going to be some beat-up people in this tournament.
To have the top of the crop people that are actually beating...
the top.
They're beating people now.
Where you're not looking at the bottom guy. Yeah, it's probably not going to be a Toki Hayate Yusho, okay?
God.
And I'm not doubting that. Or Nishiki Fuji or Kageyaki. We can just throw that page right out. It's going to be one of these guys. I'm not even going to give it to one of the middle guys at this point. So, best of luck, Wakamotoharu, because now we'll speak about Daieisho, who maintained his rank with an 8 and 7. Okay, so I'm so torn as to how to describe Daieisho in terms of upswing or downswing or just in the middle. He's got great moments, and then he's got moments where he looks a little rough, but then he just gets the job done.
He gets the job done. That's the way you describe Daieisho.
Yeah, he's the job done guy, and beating Onosato the way he did, it shows you that even if he's a little beat up and the tournament's not getting dominated, he can still beat who he needs to beat.
Yeah, in this pile of killers, he finds a way through.
Yeah.
So is he gonna be Ozeki? Hard to see. Maybe he falls out, but then he's just gonna snap right back in. He is that stable Sanyaku presence that was the Mitakeumi, the Takanosho.
Yep.
Back in the day, or they were always there.
But he's such a grind, hard-nosed person that he doesn't give up his spot.
No. Like,
you got to make him bleed in the middle of the ring for him to give up his spot. Whereas Mitakeumi, it was kind of like, this is hard. This is kind of hard.
He was that 9 and 6 guy, Takanosho, that 9 and 6 guy.
Yep.
Meisei for a little while was able to hold that in. So that's Daieisho now, and you do need that Sanyaku presence to sort of keep everyone honest.
Right. It's like you can measure yourself up against how did my Daieisho match go.
Yep.
And if it wasn't going so good, then you might need to go back and do some more practices.
Yeah. And like you said, always foot on the gas, going forward.
That guy is just he's a never quitter. And so he will make it hard for all of them because he also seems to rise to the level of competition.
He does.
Like, he feeds off of other people's energy. If it's nervous energy, he's like, yeah. If it's aggressive energy, he's like, I'll meet that aggression.
Yeah. Stand and deliver.
So he knows what these guys want, and he's there to be the wall in their way. He does not care. It's awesome.
Keep at it, Daieisho. We love you.
Yes. So then we have Abi, which just I never know what to think about Abi. 11 and 4. He gets into Sanyaku and then he gets kicked back out, but then he's too good to be hanging out in Maegashira, so he's back. But January is a tough month for him, and I do think he's nursing chronic injuries with the elbows. I think it's like the type that never go away. But this is the kind of tournament where Abi can do major damage, do weird stuff to the top guys and mess up their tournament.
Yeah. He's got Onosato's number.
Yeah, he's Mr. Heel, by the way. Mr. Heel. You could picture him pulling a Hanka on somebody. You could picture him doing some weird thing. And the fans are, a lot of fans really hate his guts, so he lives for that. And if I were any of the top guys, I'd be like, I want to get this Abi match done as quickly as possible.
He is showing improvements to his Abi A, Abi B heel
starting to meld together.
It's melding together. It is refining into a style. Now, first off, can he make that an Ozeki style? That's difficult to say.
Yeah.
And he does have that point that he gets that mental block once he gets up this high.
There's a point where, like, he's in a match and he just loses so epically that you're like, what was that?
He's just like, it's like he's almost trying too hard, or he doesn't know what to do, or he tries something and it doesn't work. So
I think it's a lot of that. Like, I think he tries a lot of things, but the second it's like, I don't want to say the second, because he'll try crazy stuff on the edge of the ring, but there are moments where you see the defeat in his face before the match is over. Yeah,
it's he's still in the ring, but he's lost.
Yeah.
And there's almost that like there's the, like when he grits his teeth, like the panic.
You're like, oh, it's already over.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, he doesn't know what's going on.
The mind shut down. There's no.
Yeah. He's sort of like Shodai in that he can live in that chaos, but
but that'll never get you Ozeki.
No,
that's the problem.
I mean, it got Shodai Ozeki, but anyway, it's not supposed to get you.
Shodai will be forever like this example to look to. Like, what happened?
I love Shodai. Never change.
Be Shodai. So we'll see what happens with Abi, but expect him to mess somebody's tournament up a little bit.
Someone, yeah. He's going to put dirt on somebody.
If it's Hoshoryu, I'm going to cry. I don't think it'll be Hoshoryu, but I just... Look, Abi has messed up.
I'm looking. He beat Hoshoryu. He didn't fight Hoshoryu. No.
He did.
He lost to Hoshoryu. Beat
Yeah.
Beat Hoshoryu. Lost to Hoshoryu. Oh, it's 3-2.
Okay, well, think about it this way, John, okay? Abi used to mess with Takanosho all the time, okay? So I have experience with this. I've picked a new guy, and Abi's like, oh, here's my next target.
Yeah, well, 3-2 in the last 5.
In the last 5, which have been incredibly intense.
Yeah. So Abi is winning the recent matchup.
Yeah, not good. So Hoshoryu is going to have to measure his tournament based on how that Abi match goes.
I do love it whenever anybody henkes Hoshoryu, though.
I know, because he shows him like, yo, you can't do this to me.
No, like when Tobizaru does it, they both just start laughing.
Tobizaru's like, I know, I shouldn't have done it. We're going to entertain the fans
today. You got
today.
me again. Well, anyway, Abi might do that. Expect more heel.
Abi heel. That's just who he is. He is a heel. There will be no baby face for Abi. It'll never happen. Okay, so Wakatakakage had a nice little jump up too. 10-5 like his brother. I love the brother symmetry here. So he's finally back into Sanyaku.
We've been waiting for this for like a year.
Yeah, at least a year. He came back extremely fast from that injury.
Yeah.
And threw himself right into Sanyaku. The man's a beast. He possibly looks better than before the injury. He's a little hungrier.
I think he's more focused, and I think he was... I honestly think it was just a year of training. Like, he was just improving the craft.
Right. He didn't have... So, when you're up in Sanyaku, sometimes you can't focus as much as you want to because there's all this other stuff. He gets kicked all the way down to the lower ranks. All you do is train now.
You do train.
You don't worry about your spot. You don't worry about this. You just worry about the craft. But now's the real test.
Both of the brothers have the same dilemma hitting them, that you need to find that pole vault up into Ozeki if you want to go higher, or you're going to be in Sanyaku forever.
Well, the thing about Wakatakakage is he made it up to Sekiwake 1 East, so he's got a little bit of room for, I can jump up.
A little bit.
But not much. I mean, the truth is he's pretty much where he needs to be, and he couldn't get Ozeki before the injury.
He got close.
Right. So what's he going to do now? What's going to be the thing that he's changed or improved? And now the pool looks totally different than when he was last here. It's totally different guys up here. Harder guys. Bigger guys. These guys are way bigger than who he was fighting. So this is the new challenge for him.
It's going to be fun because in a way we've sort of taken that year of loss and we closed it shut. Mm-hmm. So now we're looking at him. You're like, okay, you're Sanyaku. You're wanting to go higher. You're sharpening your skills. Now January for him, so there's a lot of like fatalism in January. Will you get it? Won't you get it? But for Wakatakakage, like this is the new beginning.
Yeah.
This is now that he's back, now we can build. Now we can see where he is.
But if the Ozeki decide we're not losing to anybody, he's one of the guys that's going to be their victim.
Yeah, and then he's gonna have to
Look at
find
that. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 possible losses there.
Yep, it's like we were saying with Wakamotoharu. If he wants that Yusho, he needs to beat one of these guys, or he's 11-4 at best.
Well, he knows that he can beat Onosato. He's done it twice, so maybe you say 3 possible losses. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but then you know.
But you got this interesting thing where Wakatakakage and Hoshoryu were there together. So he's a familiar face, but I think Hoshoryu's gotten so much better since the days they fought.
It's not going to be easy. It's not easy for anybody up here anymore.
The only person who can really go toe-to-toe with Kotozakura, there's 2. There's Terunofuji and there's Onosato. Hoshoryu and Wakatakakage, they got to rely on their tricks. They can't just square up straight on with this guy and beat him. So it's an uphill climb, you know?
I'm looking forward to it because this is like, it's not going to be done in January. We're just going to see what happens.
Right, this is the start of something.
It's the start of something.
So, we're going to see. I mean, thank goodness he doesn't have to fight Wakamotoharu. He gets a little freebie there.
They do some Sanyaku scheming.
Gotta like the brother thing.
The brother thing.
We're gonna double team all you people. So, next we have Takanosho. So he's an interesting case that we're gonna discuss. Up from Maegashira 6 East to Maegashira 1 East with an 11-4. So we got veteran resurgence, but same thing I'm going to say with him as Wakatakakage. The top is way tougher than when he was in Sanyaku. So there's a good and a bad to that, right? So the bad to it is you get a win off of these guys, it's a miracle. The good to it is he's elevated himself at a time where the top is way better than it was. So he's sort of inserting himself in there. And we know that there's, like for Takanosho, he is riding the wave of having the new coaching from Takekeisho.
Certainly isn't hurting.
We've always talked about how you need a new thing, an X factor, an improvement, this, that, and the other thing. Most of these guys won't have a new thing. He's one of the guys who's lucky enough to have this new thing, where he suddenly has a new coach he never had before. Now, you do run out of steam with your new thing after a while. Like, maybe you take in all this information and it makes you just a little better, but then it's done, right? Like, how much more coaching is going to make you better unless you do something with it? So, he has the X factor of new situation, but he's not as tough as these other guys. At least I don't think.
It's that veteran grit and that, you know, he has his injuries. He's not going to be crisp, but
it's like a Nishikigi.
Sort of. Maybe a fairly apt comparison, but a little bit more energy in there than Nishikigi these days.
Right. Significantly younger.
Yeah. So if Takanosho gets an 8-7, he may be able to find a place. If like a 9-6, they'll make a slap for him.
Yeah.
Because he's 1 East.
Yeah. They're not going to make him stay there with a 9-6.
You can't. Like 8-7, maybe. Like if all 4 of these guys Kachikoshi and everything's looking good and he gets an 8-7, maybe they say sorry. Mm-hmm. So now getting to 8-7 alone,
it's going to be tough.
It's going to be impressive.
Yeah, well, because he's got to fight all the top
guys. All those
guys.
top guys. Look at this.
And those
will
be like first week, right?
First week will probably be a little bit lower down. Like we're gonna get Shodai is gonna get thrown one of those guys.
Shodai's gonna have a fun week.
He's gonna get a little black and blue. But so I'd say it's within possibility.
But it's tough.
But it's gonna be tough and it's gonna be interesting because, like you said, you eventually hit a point where these new refinements are just going to hit a brick wall.
Right. Like there's the new energy from having something new. It's like, oh, it's fresh, it's happy. January is a grind, man. It's the beginning of the new year, and everybody's got, like, all these guys have got their own narrative going on of what they're going to do, and you're in their way.
Yep.
So are you tough enough to mess with their plans?
Yeah. So this is the other side of the coin. So we were talking about how Hoshoryu, Kotozakura, they need to have a spotless first week. They need to have everything looking aces for them. These are the people that are being told, You need to find a way through these wrecking balls that are going right at your face. And it'll be as true for Takanosho as it's going to be all the way down probably to Takayasu on this list.
What's kind of an interesting scenario to contemplate is if, like, these top guys, like Takanosho, Kirishima, top Maegashira guys, Takanosho, Kirishima, Tobizaru, Tamifuji, if they decide to just beat the Ozeki in the first week, and then we have a scenario where you have, like, the Yusho winner is going to be 12-3, something crazy like that.
Could be.
You can't count that out. Because the nerves mess with people.
There's a lot of pressure and expectation coming into this tournament on the very, very top, which means that they're going to be pushing that pressure down
right
on everyone else. In September, whatever.
Right. January. In January is Daieisho's tournaments. We'll see. No, but it could be interesting. Like, Takanosho could be the guy. What if he puts a win on every... What if he's the one guy who puts a win or puts a loss on all the top guys in the first week? All of a sudden, you have a different conversation about him. Don't think that's going to happen, but we got to throw all those scenarios out there. So, I'm just looking forward to Takakeisho's sightings. I hope I see him high-fiving Takanosho in the hallway. That'd be a good sign that Takanosho's found a way through the gauntlets. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be hard. But not as hard as it's going to be for Kirishima, because he's got a lot on his mind. Kirishima has fallen out of Sanyaku. He was trying to maintain some sort of Ozeki something.
I think last tournament is when he fell out of Ozeki, and so he had that... oh, no, he was...
Yeah, he's been...
Wait a minute. Yeah. Never mind. He was
trying to go back.
Yes, so he had the 12-3. He was trying to build towards something,
and now it just completely no Sanyaku, no Ozeki. Just
So
it's done.
Like the collapse is now complete.
Yes.
So on one hand, any thoughts of Kirishima getting back to his old rank, or at least having a sporting chance, that seems to be a little dead right now. But on the other side, it is now that you've hit the bottom, now that there is nothing to chase. There is no aspirations. Like, now you can rebuild. And now you can rebuild knowing that you're going to get, maybe get a Roga, maybe get an Endo thrown your way. For Kirishima, Endo is a freebie. Mm-hmm. Clip this for when Endo beats Kirishima later. I'm going to have a laugh over it.
Yeah, at some point I'm going to clip some of these good ones and put them in shorts. But here's my sort of outlook on Kirishima. Like, I kind of feel like he's done already with the top ranks. They've surpassed him. For January, and for sort of a larger look at 2025 for Kirishima, it is, can you survive the post-Ozeki slump that seems... So Takayasu, just hanging out now. Mitake Umi, Shodai, they're just hanging out. Right, they're done. They're not trying anymore.
They're not... I could not say with a straight face Takayasu is ever going to get back to his old rank. Mitakeumi, no. Shodai, no. Kirishima, we're in a...
Maybe.
We're in the null zone. We're in the it's not possible or impossible. And what Kirishima needs to show us is whether or not there's ever going to be another chance.
I think a big question about Kirishima is, how good was he? I don't know. Like, was he really just in better shape at one point? Injuries are taking him down? Or did he just sort of take advantage of a good time? Like I said, did people surpass him suddenly? I don't know if I've ever gotten a full grip on who Kirishima is, what he's capable of. I don't know.
He was a slow builder. He was our textbook example of slow and steady wins the rate. He was like 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins.
He was going up with Hoshoryu the same way. Like, they climbed to the rank, like, they climbed up there together. And then all of a sudden, like, Kirishima just kind of fell apart, and then Hoshoryu just kept going.
Yep. Yeah, so what makes it confusing then is that, like, when he would do the dip, like, because there was no spike up in power, you're just like, it was he figured it out. No, but he was figuring it out over time. In a way, this may be good for him, because if that Ozeki level sumo is still in there and he's just now injured and in his own head, if you can resolve those,
it'll come back.
And this is what I'm going to be interested in seeing out of him for January and then again for the next few tournaments.
Yeah.
If he starts trying to muscle his way back into Sanyaku, if he's doing well against these people in the top division, maybe he'll be trying to make a comeback. Worth noting that of that 9 losses, 6 of those losses were now current Sanyaku and Ozeki. And this goes towards what you were saying about everybody else sort of starting to surpass him. Mm-hmm. And this is the problem that we're going to be talking about with people like Atami Fuji and Oho, which is if you want to be up in the top, you've got to start beating the people that are there.
It's like running a race, and they're lapping you now. And what are you going to do if they're lapping you? Like, you would have to get some sort of power boost. It seems near impossible at this point. If you don't keep up with the guys, it's done. And here's the crazy thing I just started thinking about as we're talking about this. Once we get out of this tense thing where we're going for Yokozunas and stuff, then we can get the stability again of these lower guys, can I beat the Yokozuna today? Part of what's making it hard is these guys are about to do once-in-a-lifetime things. And it's going to be very hard for you to interfere with that.
Yep.
But once they're stable and comfortable and, maybe you got a couple Yokozuna, then it's like, oh, wow, he beat me today. Oh, wow, he's really pushing. But right now, it feels like you're just not allowed in the club. Like
the knives are too sharp.
Yeah, like you need to go take a seat because you can't hang with us right now.
So this probably will be the fate of Kirishima, and that's why I'm having more of a broader view on him.
I would agree with that.
I would say if he does bad again in January, it's not going to mean too much.
Right, he has got his own thing. He's got to.
But if we're having this conversation in like July and he's M6, that might be more telling than something that happened just now in January.
Right, exactly. So we got to shrug our shoulders for him. Next, we have Tobizaru doing Tobizaru things.
Tobizaru things.
9-6, scrapes it back to the top 5. I still remember the time where we're like, does he even belong in Makuuchi?
He has evolved so much over these last few years.
He is, like, speaking of hanging out, he's found a way to be good enough to hang out in the top 5.
Yeah. Where Daieisho is sort of like the Sanyaku mainstay, Tobizaru is cutting himself out as a Joy mainstay, the top 5. He, like, every time he goes under that level, he pops back up. And he's touched Sanyaku a couple times, but like where he seems to live is right there.
Right, and so people get, the top guys get used to, okay, I'm going to fight Tobizaru. And it feels like Tobizaru never stops trying. I don't know that he'll ever get the consistency to like make a higher level thing, but like an Abi, he can really mess up your tournament.
Because
he's never going to stop.
He doesn't have quit in him.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit of a rivalry with the Yokozuna, which could make this very fun.
I am hoping that is an early match. If
it could be,
it'll be the first 5 days.
Can you just imagine? Terunofuji's going to be really in a bad mood, and Tobizaru's going to be like, "Yeah, I'm fresh."
He's going to kick the knees. He's going to do a leg pick.
He's going to kick the knees, and Terunofuji's going to grab him by the throat and throw him into the third row. I mean,
things to look forward to if Terunofuji shows up.
Oh man, I really want to see that. So like I said, Tobizaru being Tobizaru, there's not much to say besides, hopefully he's healthy and he's just going to go in there and scrap and pull and
he's going to have some fun. And yeah, he is proving to all of us, it's like M2, that's Tobizaru's place.
Yeah, I mean, he's carved out an interesting, image of himself that people will remember when he's done. Oh yeah, I remember that little scrapper. He would go flying into the first row. That's cool.
See how much he flies in January.
The flying monkey is, he's ready for January. So it's not the year of the monkey, is it?
You're the snake.
Oh, okay. So sorry, Tobizaru.
So Abi's tournament.
Got him. You got it. Okay, so Atami Fuji, 8-7. This didn't look like it was going to happen. Up from Maegashira 3 West to 2 West. A nice morale boost to the end of the year.
Big morale boost.
Because it's been rough for him.
He has another... Look at this. Look at these losses right here. And there's Abi. So...
right in the middle of the tournament.
So he's Maegashira 2, so like he's going to basically have this again.
Right.
And if you want him in Sanyaku, you need to deal with this.
Which, once again, I mean, everybody's going to have an uphill climb. If these guys are, like, on a mission that far surpasses you, then get out of the way. You know, you got to make your own mission. Like, this is my comeback year, and I'm going to beat them. I don't care what their mission is. I care about mine. But Atamifuji doesn't seem like the type that's ready for that quite yet. But, you know, maybe like a Kirishima. Like, don't worry in January.
Yeah, He similar to Tobizaru, he's sort of carving out his niche down here, but there's no way in heck he is satisfied with that.
No. Well, especially because he came very close to touching a Yusho.
Very close.
What a hard way to start your career, because now you have to measure up to that one thing. And I think that can get in your head a little bit.
The longer he keeps these 7s and 8s and 7s, you know, the harder it is to say, now I'm getting it.
Yeah. Like, you really need to have a big push of a 10 and 5 or something.
He gets that double-digit win. First off, that might get him in Sanyaku from where he is,
right?
If there's room.
Oh, wow, that's a whole
but also
story.
that will mean to get that he's beaten, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is 8. So if he's 10 and 5, he's beaten 3 of these.
Well, you've got 3 guys here that have proven their instability: Wakamotoharu, Daieisho, and Abi. They're all beatable. So no, what I mean by that is one of them could end up having a bad tournament and get kicked out. So
could be.
I don't necessarily predict any particular one, but there's some spots open if somebody decides to do something amazing.
Yes. So, but this does boil down to Atamifuji can't be waiting for somebody to have a bad tournament.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, 2025, new year, new Atamifuji maybe.
Maybe that extra week helps things. Maybe. I don't know. So, we will see. And speaking of someone, I feel maybe in a similar boat, Gonoyama. Turn my page here. So he had an 11-4, a very surprising 11-4, because we had gotten kind of used to him just not performing that well. And all of a sudden he came back to being the guy he was when he first started. Very powerful, Tachi eyes, seemed to have his confidence back. But we always say this. Takes 2 tournaments.
Takes 2 tournaments. For Gonoyama, and this is towards your point, the big question is, why did he do so well in November? Did he do well because, as we were seeing, he seems to be focusing on his Tachi eye, on sticking to people, on moving, or did he get better simply because he fell so far down the Banzuke that he found people he could beat?
Right. And that's always a problem for these kind of guys, because it's like, okay, well, now you're going to go right back up. Are you going to get hammered back down again, or are you going to do something different?
Yep.
We don't know with Gonoyama.
He's got something to prove in January.
Yes,
he's got to show us what he's got, like you said, because if you get that 2 tournament streak, maybe he's found something.
Exactly. But once again, with all these different scenarios and all these different people, I mean, right above him, the Atamifuji, Takanosho, Kirishima. There's like when you're down here, there's layers upon layers of story that you got to cut through. Like, Kirishima's got something to prove. Takanosho's got something to prove. Are you in the same category? I'm not sure.
This is also where it's part of the larger levels of talent that, like, you know, we talk about. There's the unsalaried ranks, and then there's like the lower Makushita, the upper Makushita. Here's Jiryo, here's lower Megashira, and like the jump up in competition becomes higher and higher from a smaller rank up. Mm-hmm. So there could be again, maybe he's figured it all out and he's going to start smashing, or that difference between those 5 ranks, it's just 10 people.
Right.
The difference from being at 8 to 3, maybe that jump up is just so much more talent.
Right. And that's all determined by you to some degree. Like, you can only control your sumo. So, like you said about Atamifuji, don't worry about what those guys are doing. If you just level yourself up, then they don't matter. But Gonoyama's so freshly back that he'll be lucky just to maintain at this point.
Yep, he's got to prove he can maintain.
And I think our buddy Oho is in a similar position. People were starting to get a little excited for him, and then he had another Oho-type tournament that we've gotten, unfortunately, used to. 6-9, shut out of Sanyaku. He had a couple of matches that seemed like the Oho, but then it went right back to the nonsense.
he's showing more potential. Like 2024, for a lot of people, the beginning of the year, Oho was this weird mess of not too much going on. And then at the end of 2024, people are like, hell yeah, Oho, he's my guy now.
Right.
So he's building out sort of this longer, like, victory over time rather than a Basho to Basho victory. He was close to Sanyaku. That would have been amazing.
Right, and he's still, once again, extremely young.
Still very young. So for January, for him, it's can he keep that level of sumo spirit that he had?
That's going to be important.
And then, sort of like Kirishima, like for Oho, it is more of a longer term goal. Like he's not the rocket ship blasting out into space. But it does seem that if he can improve himself so much over the 6 tournament period once, what can he do in 2025?
Right, getting an 8 and 7 at 3 with all these guys we've been talking about would be a major accomplishment.
Impressive for a guy who in July was starting to figure it out.
Exactly. So, some guys are like, "Where's your 10 and 5?" This guy, it's like, just get an 8 and 7 or 7 and 8. That's one better. It's not perfect, but yeah, he's got to just sort of build the long-term plan. He's going to, if all goes well for him, he outlasts some of these other guys because he's so young. They'll be aging out and he might be coming into his prime. So long game is a good thing, but he's got to progress. He can't be stuck in this pattern he's been in for years now.
So January is his first opportunity to put proof.
Yes. New year, new you.
New year, new you.
And then we have everybody's favorite guy, Shodai. Everyone had wildly different takes on what his November was going to be. And unfortunately, he gave us a Shodai. 4 and 11. He really tried in some of those matches that he lost, which was kind of a big thing.
It was nice.
It was like, oh, wow, like Shodai's really trying, but he's just outclassed.
He's out of his depth.
Yeah. So I kind of expect Shodai to come back with no expectation at all. I think Sanyaku was too hard for him. He's going to come back now and just be like, meh, I'm here. And then maybe something. You can't predict this guy. He might end up having a great tournament. Or he could continue the slide down. There's no point in even trying to project what Shodai is going to do.
So we say New Year, new Oho. New Year, same Shodai.
Exactly.
Don't change.
We don't want you to change.
He'll do his thing.
He's already done the best that he's ever going to do.
Yeah.
He made it to Ozeki. It just doesn't even matter. Now it's for the fun of sumo.
Yeah? What do you think? Go get him, Shodai.
Go get him.
Go get him.
Unlike our man here, Ura, similar in a way, but totally different in another. Ura's also kind of out there just having a good time, but he cares. It just doesn't always work out. So he was 5 and 10. And very funny that he only dropped 2 ranks.
Yeah, the end of last tournament, there was a lot of red, a lot of Makakoshi because of how well the top was doing. They just fed.
Right, and what's Ura going to do about that?
He's not going to have a time of it.
And he had the classic double Torinaoshi.
Oh, it was so good.
One of the best things I've ever seen. And let me tell you, that video is all over the internet. People who just wanted a viral video uploaded that video, okay? Is pretty impressive to show the stamina and the execution on the 3rd match that Ura put in. That's why they're like, look, he has enough spirit for everybody on this list. Go easy on him.
Yeah, he will never want for spirit.
Never.
He's definitely in it for the love of the game.
And I'm totally going to get some Ura merchandise this year. That is my New Year's resolution for 2025. Buy Ura merchandise. Yeah, we're just going to go along and have a good time. Like with Shodai, we have a good time, but sometimes it's like at his expense.
M4 is the good time rank.
Good time, Ura. He's going to test himself with Tobizaru. We always talk about, like, if he's having a good tournament, he beats Tobizaru.
If not, he loses.
Exactly. And they're right in the right spot to have their classic match. And I think he's going to be full of bounce because it's the new year. I think he's going to be jumping all over the place. So, best of luck to Ura. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but keep being your spirited, awesome self. Next, we have another spirited fellow who had a real rough time of it. Hiromi. Down from Megashira 1 West with the 4 and 11. Not getting Sanyaku anytime soon. But this is an opportunity to start over.
It's a rebuild.
We know that he's talented enough to get back there. Like you just said, the tournament was full of killers last time. They had a mission. Hiromi was going to be the fodder. He learned a lot, I'm guessing. You know? And I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sicknesses going around. It could have sucked some of his stamina up. Some things, he wasn't quite himself. So maybe he's going to come in fresh, renewed, hungry, because he also feeds off of people's energy. And he might have a decent tournament, but
I think he'll do better down here on paper. It is that mental X factor for him now, because he had like back to back. Sorry, buddy. Because like
that was so rough to watch.
He was like, oh, let me see. Because of the one tournament. Yeah, so it started here. He gets a 10-5, gets a technique prize. Rank does not change.
That's rough.
Get to 7-8, they dump him out. And then in November, everybody was headhunting.
Yeah.
So from a sort of a spiritual standpoint, that's really rough.
It wasn't good for the soul.
Not good for the soul. So
Maegashira 5 is a good place to restart.
If you say forget all that crap, 2025 is new and I'm going to start thrashing people, he's going to do fine.
Especially if he gets, some of the lower ranker matches, gets a good first week,
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, but I have faith that this is not the best of him. Like, he's just having a rough spot.
He's getting started still. He's winding the gears.
It's funny, though, because in this case, his Maegashira 5 partner is a complete opposite story. Most of the time, they like to put him together, but he is the exact mirror. 11-4 instead of a 4-11. Like, having a great old time in November.
Some of the best Chiyoshima we've ever seen.
Which is so weird. Like, when you see a guy like him where you've already decided who he is and what his tournament will be like, and he's like, nah, I'm going to get 11-4. And you're like, after a surgery?
He had that surgery. He was 5-5-5 after the surgery.
Went to Juryo?
Falls down the Juryo, comes back out from Juryo. He's sort of just like, okay, good to know that he's at least good. And then 11-4.
It's not usually the way it goes.
Oh.
There's usually like, okay, 6-9.
Yeah, and he did the fade into Juryo.
Yeah.
And we're just like, it was that Chiyomaru fade. We're sort of just like, okay,
we may not see you
again.
We
may not see you again, but we love you. And then he comes back, and he got the 5-5-5. We're like, it sucks. And then this. Now all of a sudden he's M5.
Well, the fox went to Tamawashi's house. That's what I thought.
I think it must have.
They made a deal. It's like, I know what you have, that fountain of youth in your backyard. What do you want?
This is the definition of a wild card.
Uh-huh. You cannot predict Chiyoshima either.
He can put dirt on Terunofuji on day one. He can go 0-15.
Yep. And if anybody gets lucky enough to predict Chiyoshima, you got lucky. Don't think you're just some sumo brilliant savant, okay? You got lucky.
Yeah, I can see him like 12-3 or 3-12, and he beats all three Ozeki.
I could see it too.
Who knows what he's gonna do up here? I don't think he knows what's gonna happen.
Well, he doesn't even know if he's like giving up the Henka or not. I am swearing off Henka and do 5 Henkas.
I don't believe that.
I'm bringing Henka back and doesn't do any Henkas.
Doesn't do any Henkas.
You can't predict someone who isn't predictable in his own mind. He's just gonna do it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be a nice little thing going on there. And then we have Takayasu, who is predictable in a way. Like, he's gonna have a flare up at some point. But will it be in the tournament? Could be after. So 8-7. This was one of the few tournaments where I wasn't paying any attention to him at all because there was so much other stuff going on. For once, he's been able to be somebody on your mind in the top situation, or even when he gets injured, it comes back and then wins 5 in a row. This was the first time he was so understated. He did what he had to do. He got an 8-7, got a little bit of a bump up. It always just comes down to how healthy he is. And he can't even control or predict that himself because it's his back. So he's unpredictable but predictable. We'll put it that way. Because we just don't know the state of his health. We just don't know. He doesn't know. If he comes into January and for some reason, like the cortisone shots he took this month are just working better, he might just do something crazy and have like an 11-4. But if it stays in the pattern we've been in, then he's going to be 8-7 or,
Worse.
2-13. So once again, a non-predictor falling out of our Yusho prediction list completely at this point. Just hoping that he has a good year.
Yeah, this is going to be the start of where is he at now.
Yeah, I mean, particularly when you see young guys like Takekisho and Onosho retire, you start to look at guys like this.
They've been holding on.
It's like, how are you keep going? You're still poised to do something because you've been holding on for a long time when others could not. So I never want to count him out completely to surprise us again someday, but not right now. I don't think it's going to happen.
Just do what you want, Takayasu. January's free.
Yeah, freebie.
Freebie.
And then we have Ichi Yamamoto, Maegashira 6 West, up from 10 East, 8-7. That's a pretty big jump for an 8-7.
Yeah, this was a dead zone. This
had to have messed up the Banzuke.
It was bad.
I didn't even critically look at this, but yeah, that had to mess up everybody's Banzuke because that's a giant leap for an 8-7. Anyway, the struggler, he's doing his clawing his way back up. He's still doing kind of the same sumo. It's just I don't know if he refines it to some degree, like gets the footwork just a little tighter, gets the thrusts timing just a little bit right. He's going to come in and do the same stuff for the most part, and sometimes he'll have success and sometimes it will not work out.
He's a little high up there. He's going to start getting some people who will probably give him some real trouble.
So if he does good, that's good.
It's going to be interesting because if Ichi Yamamoto keeps like building his strengths, he may get one up on people. But if people start figuring him out, which at this level they probably will.
You would think.
We are also, I don't know if they'll give it to us, but he is sort of in range.
They're like on the same screen right now.
They
like entertaining matches.
We got it once.
I know, only once.
Got it once.
Oh man, I love that match. It's so great.
It is a possibility.
Did that JJ Ichi Yamamoto video come out?
Not yet. I'm still waiting for it.
Okay, I saw like the thumbnail. Okay,
I don't want to rush him. It sounds like it sounds like he's building us like a full ass documentary. So I'm looking forward to it.
If it comes out, we gotta flood it with views. Just saying, get it up to like 2 million views. In the sumo community that is so tiny. Ay. Anyway, best of luck to Ichi Yamamoto. I hope you fight Abi. That's my big wish. Next, we have Endo. Maegashira 7 East maintains the same rank. Oh, they did it.
They did it.
They did it.
They did it. The triple hold.
They did the triple hold. Oh my goodness, we predicted it. Oh, that's so amazing. We're starting to get into their minds.
I saw that. And I was like, yeah!
Well, it's funny because once the guest of Banzuke is submitted, like, I just don't even pay attention until people tell me, hey, this is what happened. Like, I see the Banzuke, but I don't remember what we picked. But that I remember. They actually held the ranks. Oh, that's awesome.
We were 9-6, by the way.
I did see that we were 9-6, but I didn't analyze, like, where we...
I didn't look at that either.
I feel like we got to go look after this because that Ichi Yamamoto one. But anyway, Endo maintains the same rank with a 7 and 8. Probably earned it being around as long as he has. He's just, there's not much to say besides he's a fading veteran, but he's very talented.
Yes.
So he's going to give you a good match for the most part. Like, you're going to see something cool, at least in a couple of matches where he'll do a very technical throw or, or reversal or something. And be like, wow, that was a neat little match. But the end of the past who like could slip a win on Terunofuji or throw himself into a Yusho race, not likely to come back at this point. But I enjoy watching him no matter what. He's one of the veterans that I really enjoy. Like, oh, Endo's here. A little bit of sentimentality, perhaps, because he was one of the top wrestlers when we first started watching. But, yeah, I think he just does Endo things.
More of the same from what was in November.
Yeah. There's a couple people on the list as I just do your thing.
Keep on keeping on.
And next, same ranker, Mitaki Yumi, Maegashira 7 West, 7 and 8. Spirited.
That hip.
Hip.
Mitaki
Yumi got a major, like, everybody started to like him a little bit more after that gutting. Like, he just gutted it out. He did what he had to do. He showed his sumo spirit. I hope he's healed.
Hope so.
Because if he's not, it's just going to be more of the same. And in his case, same is not good. Because same would mean just like wearing yourself out while you're injured. A lot of people said, he shouldn't have come back. And it's like, I got to fight. I got to do my thing. So I hope he's had a chance to heal. I hope he actually does a little bit better this time. But another wrestler where his time has passed.
You say that. He was 5-1.
I know, before the injury.
It's now. I mean, this is all coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Well, the way I kind of see Mitakeumi is he's good enough to beat any of these lower guys. Not saying he would clean sweep them, but like any one of these guys you look at, he could beat.
That's fair.
But when you get to the top guys, I just don't see it.
I don't know how well he'll do if he's in the top 5. I think.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, from the long term.
Like where he is right now, if he's just fighting the guys around him, I think he could do pretty well if he's not hurt. But once he gets that promotion, it's like, these guys, they're leaps and bounds ahead of you.
Yeah, it is always fun when they do that resurgence, and then you're like, okay, let's see what you do. Let's see what you got.
We always like that moment of like the veteran shows the young kids where it's at, but that can never last. At some point, those top guys, they're going to be veterans, and the young guys will come take their place.
If he gets his hip healed and he gets that same kind of energy he had in the first half of November, he can be
a very entertaining fighter when all is going well. And I'm rooting for him. I'm always rooting for something good for him. But you hold your breath. You're like, oh, okay. Not as bad as Asanoyama. But he's kind of getting there. He's got to be careful.
Well, he's not that kind of injured yet.
Exactly. He's maintained. He's kept his injuries to be safer ones, we'll say. So best of luck. Roga is Mr. Hold.
The hold master has held again.
That's why we're like, this is possible, because like they love Roga to hold. Once again, 7-8 with a hold. The hold champion holds again.
Holds again.
What do I say about Roga in terms of, he's defensive, he's got his belt work, but he's stagnated at this point, and he's young, so that shouldn't last. There should be a little bit of some tweaking that can be done.
So this is, look at all these. All right. Yeah, it's a very,
like, he had that one where you see a 9 and 6 there. Yep. But like the majority, it's 7 and 8s, 8s and 7s. I don't want to give him how old is he? I don't want to like overage him.
1999.
So
26.
Okay, he's not young.
He's got a few years
He's got some years.
Yeah, so he's working his way up. There's still potential.
Right.
For growth.
Like I think about Hoshoryu was 22 when he was doing the 7-8s and the 8 and 7s. Not that we necessarily see Roga as a Sanyaku either. Maybe.
Not yet.
Right. But Roga could use a kickstart. Some of the guys we said, do your thing. Roga needs to be more than the hold champion.
Yeah. It is up to him to shake that moniker at the point.
He could stay the same and be okay.
Yeah.
Be okay. I don't know.
He's showing that his level of skill is slowly getting him up with a little bit of hold magic.
Oh, that hold magic.
But like we were saying with Mitakeumi, you can be good down here, but that doesn't mean anything.
Right, like it can almost be your punishment if you beat these guys too much.
And then you go up and you have a 3-12.
Right.
So.
And if you're not careful, you get a bad enough record that you get kicked completely out.
So he definitely will need to improve.
But it could be
higher.
small improvements maybe.
Or he's 7-8 again, and he just never leaves 8 East.
And maybe that's cool.
Maybe that's its own fun.
It's better than the Magashare 15 or whatever. Ugh. Was it 15 that he was at? Now I'm forgetting the hold. Yep, 15.
15.
Look at that. That's just
hilarious. Hilarious.
So maybe he's just gonna hold, right here.
Maybe he holds 8. Yeah,
8. He's gonna hold at 8 for a little while. Do a little bit better. Hold at 6.
He's the rock climber who just sits and hangs out for 5 minutes in between bursts.
So have a good tournament, Roga. Next, we have Takanosho, 8 and 7. So they gave him a little bit of a bump from 10 to 8. Second week fade can be attributed to age. I mean, it's
very likely.
It's got to be. I think he's third oldest. It's got to be killing him by the second week. Like, he's got to be like, ugh, when is this tournament over? But you know, Takanosho, like I said, I saw that interview with him, and he was like, when I went to Juryo, it was so defeating. I can never let that happen again. He doesn't seem to care that he's the third oldest. He seems to want to stay.
He talked like he's 10 years younger. Like
he sure does.
In the Isegahama YouTube videos, like anytime he talks, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to get it. He is still, he's that young mindset.
He's He's Mr. Sumo.
It kind of is.
This is his thing, and you're not going to mess with it. You know? So, you know, we talk about Tamawashi, but I guess there's a little bit of Fountain of Youth in Takanosho too. It's all in the mind.
Yeah. It seems to have helped that the new coaching, maybe the success of some of the newer people.
Terunofuji roller coaster, because he is in the Yokozuna, ceremonies and stuff.
There has been sort of a resurgence, and from here we could see how far up he can keep pushing it.
Yeah, and if Terunofuji comes in, then there's a whole new energy. You know, like, oh, I want to do my best because my buddy's here. So we'll see. We'll see. Another guy who could do either. He could do a 10 and 5, or
5 and 10.
Yeah, exactly. So next we have Chirano Umi. So this was a tough one. He was all the way up in Maegashira 4 East, gets the 4 and 11. They drop him down to 9 East. Most people believe that he will bounce back, that it was just a bad tournament. So hopefully that is in fact the case. You know, once again, you need 2 tournaments for it to be a pattern.
Yep.
I don't know. I have a slight worry. I don't know where it's coming from.
I think it's possible that it's not a complete springboard, but the amount of spirit this guy has, and the amount that he does not care who he's fighting.
Right, and he has a very analytical sumo mind.
It seems that like he took to the top division, and he's just like, oh, I can do fine here. So, you know, I don't know where his ceiling is. I don't think he's gonna be some weird like 35-year-old Sekiwake kind of a thing going on. But down here, I think like you said,
he should be okay.
The strong analytical mind, his power, his grit will serve him well.
Yeah. So hopefully all is good with the position he's in, and he just has a good tournament. We all have a good time watching him.
I will have a good time watching him. Definitely.
Now we have Oshoma, such a interesting fella. Also a 4 and 11. This was really the first time that he got exposed. He was doing pretty good when he showed up to the top division, and now it was like, yeah, we're done with you.
So he had, when he was getting the Yusho contention stuff earlier on, like when they gave him the Hoshoryu, and Hoshoryu was just like, oh, I'm going to play with my food.
Yeah.
So like earlier on then, we're sort of like, okay, it's fine, but that's Hoshoryu. But then what happened in November is he was up sort of where he was fighting higher competition, and then they picked him apart.
They exposed him. Like, he wasn't as good. He was real good lower down because...
His brand of sumo, the sort of the angles, the backwards, the reaction stuff, does really, really well, and he's good at it. But what will happen is he got to the point where everybody's just like, oh, I know what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm. I know he's going to wait for me.
He's going to wait for me. And so he's been working on sort of being more pressured, having more initiative, but like his sumo style is on the backwards and the angles. And when you're giving that kind of initiative away, like, okay, like we were saying, all these killers up here, that stuff we were on about an hour ago, Oshoma cannot handle that in his current form. So
no.
I expect him to have a good January, similar to Chiranaomi.
I'll say this. If you're going to be defensive and reactive, you got to be as big as Kotozakura to have
maybe some
success up there.
Maybe some Ichinojo style, just try and move me.
Right.
There are ways to make it work. And also, if he starts showing some new techniques, better angles...
The angles are important.
If he starts going forward more...
Because the thing is, if you're going straight back, you're just giving them the advantage. You really got to be able to make that shift extremely quick.
So for Oshoma, it's like he's going to do well. He's going to bounce back up. But look for those moments that he wins in a way. Just like, ooh, what's that? Oh, something interesting. Because if he does his brain of sumo now, maybe he sharpens it. Maybe he gets really, really, really good at it. Maybe he's some weird backward specialist and becomes Ozeki. I don't know. I feel like it's more likely that either he finds a new angle, some new trick that's going to fool these people, or he's just going to get racketed back down every time he hits 5.
Yeah.
But he's young, he's new, he's hungry, he's learning. Again, potential. It's the Oho, it's the youngins coming up. It's a Gonoyama.
Right.
So,
you just don't know with the youngins where they might go. The potential is still there.
There's a lot of potential for him.
So best of luck. Next we have Tamawashi, Maegashira Tennis, 8 and 7, gets a tiny move up. So we're starting to see, like, he's hanging in there. He's still aggressive, my goodness. But we're starting to see the slowdown. He's starting to look mortal. The man is insane. I mean, he's 40 years old now.
Still can't believe it.
I know. I can't believe a 40-year-old man, especially, once again, you compare it to the two 28-year-olds who retired. And this man has gone almost twice as long as their career. Yep. I mean, the thing is, down at 10, he can keep doing his Tamawashi thing.
Yeah.
You know, and if the goal is to just stay in as long as he can, then good.
It is all long term for Tamawashi.
Yeah.
You look at him and you're just like, was it the double-digit losses? No? Well, I guess we're good. Oh, he got a Kachikoshi.
Cool.
Even better.
Right. Like,
Go get him.
And that's probably how he feels, too. I mean, he wound up with 2 shows, right?
Yes, and he did get to Sanyaku. And he did that. He was like, I want to get Sanyaku again. I'm just like, crazy, but you want somebody who's saying, oh, I'm getting like you were saying before, the never say die, the all or nothing. If you're not aiming high, then
you're not getting there.
You're not getting there. So X Factor is the arrival of Tamashoho to the top division.
And you know he's going to have that sort of like senior with the freshman energy, like, let me show you around.
So
this will be fun.
Stablemate and brother-in-law? I think.
Is it brother-in-law or is it son-in-law? No, I think it's brother-in-law. He's
yeah. So
yeah. So
there were family ties.
Yeah.
Family ties in addition to stable ties.
Yes.
So this is not quite the brother energy, but it's the family energy.
Right. We like the family energy. It brings a different dynamic.
So maybe that matters. Maybe he's just 8 and 7 anyway.
Yeah. Might not make a difference at all. But hey, maybe the Tamawashi makes a difference for Tamashoho.
We're always looking for X factors.
Right. So looking forward to 40-year-old Tamawashi breaking some records. There's probably some 40-year-old records he can break now. Yeah.
Imagine some guy who's in the mid-20s and they're like, I'm going to go for that longevity record. You look over to Tamawashi, he's still fighting, and you're like, no!
Tamawashi's 50? Okay, none of us are ever going to get this record. Thanks, Tamawashi.
Thanks, Tamawashi.
I could see this guy wrestling to 45. I really could.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. So, next we have Meisei. Luckily an 8 and 7, but he is Mr. Struggle at this point. He's kind of inching forward, but then we're used to him getting pushed back if he goes too high up, which is so unfortunate for him at this point.
So weird to see him at 10 West and not thinking, oh, you don't belong here, but thinking, are you okay?
Well, maybe it sees too much of Hoshoryu's punching bag. I mean, right after the November loss, he probably grabbed Macy and he's like, let's go. Macy's like, no.
Yes.
So maybe he's just beat up. I'm kind of joking about it being Hoshoryu.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does have some sort of an injury or mental issue going on, which is why he's not going back to where normally you'd say he'd belong, which is the top 5, or trying to get back to Sanyaku.
Well, sometimes, once you hit a certain age, I mean, it isn't age dependent, but Meisei now has the age thing going. You get a chronic injury that it's like, yep, this is the new me now. And then you can never be where you were before. I kind of feel that kind of energy.
The ceiling is possibly going down on him, which hurts a little bit. But if he just has to do 8 and 7s until he gets back up, I guess that's his lot in life.
Right. Sometimes you just take what you have and you just do what you got to do.
Yep.
So he's got his worker energy going on here, and we're not getting a 10-5, I'm sure.
I would like a 10-5, but I don't know. It feels weird that that's almost out of his reach.
It almost feels like 8-7, 7-8s for the foreseeable future. And unfortunately, Midori Fuji's kind of sinking into that too. He's got a little bit more, hope out there, but he's really kind of got himself in a weird place.
He's in a funk. I think we can officially say that it's not like the guy who was knocking on the door of Kamasubi.
Right now, he's almost lost. Like, he tried a bunch of different things, and he's just not winning.
Yeah, he is. I mean, at M11, I think he's going to have some fun with a few people.
Yeah, because he's low enough.
I think a Kachikoshi is at least realistic for him down here.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a good thing to get dropped down.
Maybe that's what's coming his way.
So, another struggler. Then we go to Takeru Fuji, and this is we can talk about him for a while. There's so many things to analyze. So, good jump from 16 to 11 with a 10-5. He was strong, but he wasn't the dominating force of his debut, but I wasn't surprised by that.
In a way, it's good.
Yeah, I think so.
In a way, well, also a 10-5 is still amazing.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to first debut show in 100-something years, everybody's just like, oh, it's just a 10-5. It's like, guys, he's coming back. Maybe it's a little bit more tempered. Maybe he's holding himself back a little bit. Maybe he's still, not 100%.
Maybe,
so
right.
A little more injury, either protecting the injury, a little scared of the injury, just wants to sort of refocus. January is where we're going to see
who he really is.
Yes. So if it's another more cautious, maybe not full power, then it could be that maybe him hitting the gas was just a bad idea in the long run.
Right. Like, it's hard to judge a man when you see him come in as hard and as heavy as he did and then get injured and you just don't get to see him again. How long has it been since we saw him in the top division?
He showed up in like March.
Okay.
And then was out for a while, and now he came back in November.
Right, so we really didn't even get to know him before he was out, and now he's back, but it's a new version of him. In some realities, he comes in and he upsets all the Ozeki. And he says, I'm going to win the Yusho. In this current reality, he just does another 10-5 and he struggles. Because I do think the way that he was fighting, it did seem to me that the injury was in his head. Not necessarily like, oh, I'll get injured again, but I need to be careful how I do this.
So careful, like if careful fighting can get you 10-5, you're in a good spot.
Do it.
Yeah. And as time passes, he'll get his confidence, he'll get his footing back, and then maybe he can start pushing the pace. And for a guy who won the Yusho and looked like the new star. Mm-hmm. So he was doing so well that Onosato, who is now Ozeki and is potentially going to be Yokozuna this year, was outshone.
Yeah, by
his brilliance, by Takeru Fuji's brilliance. So that potential is very much still there.
Right. Now it's just a question of, is it mental or is there actually a concern that, will this guy be injured again?
Yeah, and how is he improving? Mm-hmm. I think an 8-7 is inevitable.
Oh yeah, could even be this tournament.
So it's not a matter of whether or not he's going to do well down here. It's how well and what kind of sumo he's going to bring for us.
Right. He likely will get a Kachikoshi, although I did think I heard that he was injured again in a different part of his body, but I don't know. Okay. You don't know with these summer tour things, because they could say, I have an injury because they don't want to do the summer tour or the winter tour.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I am nursing an injury that will get messed up doing this tour. So as far as we know, it's all good and he will be there. Next, we have Nishikigi, Maegashira 12 East, down from 6 West with a 5-10. So he got knocked down. They were like, okay, old man, get down here.
A bit of a slap, but...
Well, they had all this weird stuff. Like, they're going to hold some guys. And
it was... The bottom of the Banzuke was actually where things were very competitive.
Yeah.
In November. So up top, there's a lot of holding and a lot of over promotions, and down here we got an over demotion, and people who did really well didn't really move that far up.
Yeah, so Nishikigi, he's not touching Sanyaku right now. He's not doing what he was doing. But down here, and the fact that he bounces like a bouncy ball, he might have a decent tournament now. November was rough. This might be okay for him. But we don't know because we keep keeping our eye out for the veteran slide, like the one where you don't recover.
If he gets a Makikoshi here, he's on the list.
Right. So caution right now, would you say?
Caution. I think, yeah. Optimistic, but not going to say, oh, yeah, he'll do fine. It's more of a he should do fine.
Right. We're not worried, but we're not going to,
We're not doomsaying yet.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just see with Nishikigi. That'll be that. Onokatsu. So he was interesting in November. 9-6. Quiet. Significant.
Yeah.
He's like the new hotness, but there's so much excitement with these other guys that he's getting a little faded.
Yeah, it's his.
That's why it was quiet, but it was still a statement.
November, everything was about the top, and it's gonna be that way in January as well.
Gonna be that way for a while.
Onokatsu not doing double digits now that Takerufuji sort of set the bar, the ridiculous bar of win a Yusho on your debut, or you're not the new thing.
Right, like, oh, he didn't win? Okay, forget him.
So, Onokatsu's coming in and doing comparatively, like we always talk about, oh, it's really, really hard down here. He is doing, like, by the books, I am improving, I am setting in, I am across the board, tournament to tournament, looking like a better fighter.
Right, this is the pace that I should be setting.
Yes. So, for Onokatsu, it is a matter of keep your potential. Keep your winning ways going.
Right.
And he's got a lot of potential.
Well, and the thing is, he's like a sleeper pick because if he just goes in and does something interesting, puts together a good tournament, it affects everything around him once again. So we don't know. Once again, he's a newer guy. He's young. He's fresh. We don't know a lot about him. We're not sure where he's going to go. So the potential is way out here. And we could be, at the end of this tournament and get real excited about how he did.
I think he's another, let's see what 2025 is for. So, like, for him, down here, it's like sort of the inverse of Oho.
Where will he be in November?
Where will he be in November? So, like, for Oho, it's just like, okay, you had this 6 and 9. Maybe you're not going to be doing too well. But let's see. Let's have this conversation again in the summer. Let's have this conversation again in the fall.
Right.
And, you can see Oho in Sanyaku, or you can see Oho exactly where he is. You can see Onokatsu in Sanyaku, or you can see him floundering Gonoyama style.
Yeah, or Koto Shoho style, maybe.
Maybe.
Or Koto Shoho.
We'll get to him.
Yeah. So, we just sort of optimistically look at him and root for him.
Yes.
And I do hope he has an excellent January so we have another person to get excited about.
Yeah.
You always need the new hotness. Next, we have Shonana Umi, Maegashira 13 East, up from Maegashira 13 West with 8-7. So he was looking good, starts to lose in week 2. There was progress, but it was a little confusing.
He's starting to win going forward. So for Shonana Umi,
new, yeah.
That is such a, like, from you looking at it, from a technique, from a larger sumo persona, that is a massive deal.
It was an evolution.
But then he was 8-7 because he just had a shutdown on week 2.
Right.
So it's that problem of, okay, I got this one thing fixed and now this other thing's broke. So now I got to fix the other thing and hope that the first fix is in place.
But it's too hard.
But now it's too hard. So now there's a third problem. He's working through it. But, like, if he can be as dangerous going forward as he is going backwards, he can be terrifying.
Because he's huge.
He's massive, and he knows how to control things going backwards, and now he's learning how to use his power. This is why Ichinojo was so good.
Right, like, could you imagine if he really ups his skill level and we get to see him fight Kotozakura? I want to see Kotozakura fight bigger men. There's not a ton of them out there.
So he's had this, like, he does well, he sparks and crumbles. Like, it's not a fade, he just crashes out.
It's rough.
So the hope is that we get the spark back and then we get to see the upward trend.
Especially way down here.
Especially way down here.
Like, there should be some significant progress if he's in good shape.
And I hope he is.
So, someone who is not in good shape, has just had a rough career, Koto Shoho, Maegashira 13 West, down from Maegashira 5 West with a 3-11-1. He was starting to look confident. He was starting to look healthy. Now his confidence is shattered. He's hurt. We don't know if it's going to be chronic, if it's just for that tournament. He is quite spirited, and he has a little bit of that Shio no Kuni thing. You know, like, I'm going to get in there and brawl you. It's been exciting to watch the brawls. The problem with the brawlers is they do tend to get hurt.
They get hurt.
And they get hurt all over the place. They get multiple injuries in multiple places. So he's had a rough career. I think he's better than his rank has been. And he can't get out of the injuries. Yeah. And then it messes his brain completely up.
I am hopeful that he stays in the top division. I'm going to say that for January. Get an 8-7, a 7-8. There's a potential that he just comes back and he says, I'm sick of this. Yeah. And gets double-digit wins and maybe steals a technique prize on the way out.
Be sweet. I
think that's the upper end of what he could do. But the big question mark is how bad is that injury? How much of a mental blow has he gotten from losing? Because he was such a slow builder. And the problem with those slow builders is you get a bad crash out like this and you rank-wise, you've lost a year of progress.
Exactly. And I think that's why, going back to the whole Kotozakura thing, are they in the same?
Yes.
Okay.
The Kotos. If it's a Koto in the front.
Yes. So this is why I say Kotozakura needs to take it now. Because like you said, the slow build, just there's too many opportunities to come in there and mess your stuff up. And here he is in the same stable, and he can see what's happened to Koto Shoho. Like, just don't let it happen. if you can help it, just, nail that down now, because poor Koto Shoho, it never turned out the way he wanted it to.
January will be the start of his recovery.
I hope so.
That is I'm putting full optimism into Koto Shoho.
I like this. Let's have an optimistic
full
2025.
optimism for at least one of them.
Yeah. It would be a little downer on some of them, but that's okay, because that's
speaking of being a downer on some of them.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see the name.
Beautiful transition, Maria.
Oh, yeah. Let's get down. Let's get negative. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
Hokutofuji. Poor John. I feel for John. Maegashira 14 East, down from 12 East with a 7-8. Okay, so he is hurt. His power is gone. How old is he?
30s.
30s? Let's see if he's
92.
Oh, wow. He's way older than I thought.
33.
Okay. We're looking at the end. Not like today, but like we're going down the path towards the end for Hokutofuji.
Yeah, we are cheating death.
Yes.
We are borrowing.
He's borrowing, like, can I just stand next to you, Tamawashi?
We're in the bargaining phase. So he does, well, strictly speaking, he has fellow stablemate Kitano Waka as support, but Kitano Waka has not been very able to hold on to the top division. We'll get into that. Yeah, it is the Okinomi, old school Yoshikaze, the Ikioi that
he fits in so well.
It just hobbled together, 100% giving everything he's got, but he's running out of things to have.
Right, like his body parts are all getting hurt.
Yep.
So he might be able to go out there on one leg and like just let somebody bump into him and then try something.
Yeah. We get him in like all tournaments in 2025 and be like, we still have Hokutofuji. That's what I'll be saying. So we got him in January, and from where he is, like even if it's a 6-9, we still got him.
I gotta say kudos though. I mean, Takekeisha retired before Hokutofuji.
Yeah, he hung in there.
Hokutofuji's been hurt for a while. He's a strong man.
The willpower.
Can you imagine, like, when he wakes up in the morning, he's probably like, oh.
Awake again.
Everything hurts. But this man has no quit in his bones.
No quit.
Absolutely none. So I hope we get a full 2025 with Hokutofuji. And I hope down here he's able to, like, take care of some of the youngins.
Oh, yeah. There's a few people down there that...
he should be okay with.
Yeah, you just look at the bottom of the screen. There's a few names there. You'd be like,
they're probably going to be fodder,
Anyway.
So, best of luck. Now we have Kinbozan back with a vengeance. 12-3, taking the Juryo Cup. We thought is he going to go down there and be stuck for a while? And he's like, nah, I'm going to get the cup and come right back.
It's just like, Juryo, I am not a Juryo man.
We're not doing this.
We're not doing this thing.
No. So pretty entertaining and interesting because now we can look at Kinbozan with fresh eyes. He went to Juryo, decided it wasn't for him. Has he conquered whatever was going on?
There was some injuries. There was some mental stuff. And again, like, somebody comes back with a Juryo cup, it doesn't mean as much as it used to.
No, but
somebody like Kinbozan, who goes down there, looks around Juryo, and thrashes the place.
It's a good sign.
It's a good sign. It is a very good sign.
He's like, yeah, I'm above this. Like, I can't be doing this.
That is a clear skies weather forecast.
But once you come up here, and we've discussed it, a lot going on up top. You're not in that conversation. Can you hang with sort of these veterans and these strugglers? Like, that's what we have down here. Veterans, strugglers, and newbies.
Yeah, there's a few people that we were talking about. Just like, oh, I don't know if they'll be doing well. Oh, maybe an 8-7. For Kinbozan,
he should be able to do better than that.
We consider our sights a little higher for him.
Yeah, he could possibly get a 10-5 down here.
I think that's very, very possible.
Yeah, it's like a realistic thing.
So in January, if he comes out with that 10-5, we're like, oh, good, he figured it out.
Right. You won't be like, oh wow, that's amazing. You'll be like, yeah, that's what he should do.
Yeah, we're just like, oh yeah, this is Kinbozan.
If he gets an 8-7, you're like, is he hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not settling for an 8-7 down here.
No, he's better than 8-7. Come on, Kinbozan.
So now, I don't even know. I'm like excited, but
he's back.
Yeah, I'm excited, but I'm really nervous because he's not the man he was. Okay, Haku Oho has returned. Up from Juryo 2 West with a 10-5, a year of injuries, all kinds of stress, mental struggles. Haku Oho, the man forced to take the name of Hakuho, close enough, is back into the top division. But now this is the real test. Like, you thought it was a test before. This is the real test. This man, when he came in, was like a Takerufuji.
He was Takerufuji style, flair, like the genius youth. Keep in mind, he is 22.
Okay, so he's nice and young. Good.
And he has been in sumo for 2 years. He's gone through so much stuff.
2 years.
In 2 years.
He's had a whole narrative.
An Asanoyama style drama.
Yeah.
And he's just run through it, and now he's back.
And I have more like sympathy and everything for him because he went through the scandal thing, because it reminded me of the beginning of Takekisho's career.
Yes.
That I'm rooting extra hard for him because it's like he has a lot to overcome.
Yeah. So this reminds me of when Tomokaze came back to the top division. Not as crazy dramatic, but look, he's back, guys. And then you don't now there's a little bit more expectation out of him than it was for Tomokaze, and that we want him to do better. Well,
because we knew Tomokaze was just obliterated. Him making it was a miracle. It wasn't a, hey, he's back.
Yeah, but there was a fear that Hakuoho's the demons would got him. Mm-hmm. We're like, okay, now he's injured. Now he's injured again. Now he's not injured, but he's like
stuck down there longer than we expected.
But now he's still getting a 6-9 in Juryo, even though he's healthy. We're like, oh no,
what happened to him?
Yeah, he was sacrificed to the altar of sumo.
Right,
that was the fear. But now we see it like this. We're like, he's gotten through it.
Now the interesting thing will be, for now, Hakuho Miyagi is still in Isegahama. You don't know when that split happens if he'll have another resurgence, or if is he settled now? Is he looking to the future? Where's his head at? And then does he have more injuries, or was that just little injuries and they were taking their they're being cautious? Yeah. We are not going to know a thing until week 1 starts and we just see him fight.
So for how well will he do? How long will he stay here? What will his rise be like? No clue.
I mean, how cool would it be in some ways? In other ways, it'd be terrible. If Takerufuji and Hakuoho start fighting the way they did in their debuts, then you just throw this whole tournament into a crazy chaos.
Yeah. Well, they have the potential of getting thrown up there on week 2 if they're doing that good.
Right. If those guys are in contention, they're going to fight the top guys.
Yeah. For me personally, Hakuoho back here is that is the win. But then the tournament, who cares?
Well, here's the nice thing for Hakuoho. No Terunofuji.
No?
So he would get a bye for that particular situation.
Well, he's got the other Ozeki to fight. They'll
I know,
find,
but like
they'll find someone.
They'll make sure to punish
also,
him.
I'm
not expecting it.
I don't think they'll throw. I don't think they would throw somebody this far down at the Yokozuna unless the two of them were the only contenders.
Right, and I don't actually see Hakuoho being in contention.
No.
I think he's going to be a little nervous and tentative, and I think a 10-5 might be the best he can muster.
Just going to be so glad to see him
on
day one. Be like, yeah!
I really like his fighting style. I missed him. So.
Then it'd be great if somebody just hankers him on day one. I'm just like, I don't care! He's back!
I know, right? So next we have Kitanowaka, 9-6, Mr. Up and Down.
Mr. Up and Down.
So he's going to try again. Is he going to be more aggressive?
He's still figuring out. This is attempt 4 at staying in the top division.
I mean, you would hope after that many chances.
It's on one hand, you look at it and you're like, it's like butter for him. On the other hand, you're like, he keeps making the opportunities. And it's like,
true.
If you keep putting yourself in there, if you keep rolling the dice on it, it's like, eventually you go, well,
something
would work. That's the thought. And also like sort of looking at this from the inverse, it's just like, not everybody can lose.
Right.
So
you have one hand, these guys got to beat everyone. You have this other one of like, well, somebody's going to win.
Somebody, one of the two of them got to win every day.
Right. Maybe it's him.
So it's going to be week 1. If he gives us some promise, he'll probably be fine. Maybe it'll be that hold. It was like, oh God, what was his name? The guy who got married and like the wedding promise was to get the Kachikoshi.
I remember the story, but I don't remember who it was.
He's retired now.
Yeah.
He fell out. Damn it. Damn it. This is what happens when the thought just hits you. Somebody in the comments, please. I'm begging you.
Someone in the comments will know.
He never got that Kachikoshi in the top division, and he kept falling out and going back in and falling out. And he finally, like that one time, he finally got it, and it's like, I can get married now. and then it all fell away. But it felt like he had the moment. Like that's the Kitanowaka hope.
Yeah.
I don't know if a marriage is on the line for him, but
maybe they all end up like getting married secretly somewhere down the line, and then you find out a story like that happened.
It's gone.
So yeah, we'll just see. 5th time's a charm.
Maybe 4th time, 5th time. Who knows?
So now we have our debut Tamashoho. He's a veteran though. He's not a young guy.
He's a veteran newbie.
We've had a lot of veteran newbies in the last 2 years or so. So a lot of people like Tamashoho. I've been hearing in our chat, in our comment section, you're going to love him. You're going to love him. So here he is. I've not seen him fight. I've only known about his relationship with Tamawashi. I'm looking for a nice, I'm going in with an open mind with no knowledge of how the guy even fights because I was like, I'm tuning it out. I want to have a fresh impression. So we'll see. I will keep a good eye on him, and I'm looking forward to finally seeing him fight.
Show us what you got. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Apparently he's got a hell of a lot of yorikiri. Which is interesting because Tamawashi, very much a slap you in the face, break you in half with a nodowa. He seems to be more of a grappler.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm always excited about the new guys.
I'm looking forward to it.
And a not new guy, Kagayaki. He went down to Juryo again. He's back again. He's not ready to be done. 9-6. He swaps with Ryuden.
Yeah,
that was kind of rough.
Ryuden had a real bad time of it, and he was so bad that they kicked him out.
Yeah. So, you never know with Kagayaki. He's been an unstable wrestler for at least 4 or 5 years now. He could come in and have a great tournament, or he could be right back down in Juryo. I kind of...
He's giving me the visitor energy.
Yeah.
It's the old Chiyomaru.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially with Ryuden down already. It's like, come back and join me, brother.
Yeah, or he'll
swap again.
Just swap again and Ryuden's back up, or they both go down. I don't know. He's like, he needs to...
He already feels like he's in the twilight of his career.
Sort of. Now, similar to Kitanowaka, every time you make the opportunity, it's a chance to come back. But we know a little more about Kagayaki. Like, we've seen him...
It's been years.
We've seen him when he was doing well, and then we've seen him, like, never really able to reproduce that as time goes on.
He was someone that... the whole COVID thing, like, I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, the stablemate dying, he really did take a turn right then and never came back to stability.
Couldn't have hurt.
Yeah, so it just feels like that was a moment in his career, whether that was the reason or not or coincidence.
Couldn't have helped.
Yeah, he just never came back after that. So we just keep rooting for him.
Yeah. Yeah, he does have those flashes of brilliance. He'll have a match be like, ooh, some exciting sumo, but it's fewer and farther between.
Yeah.
But in any case, welcome to the top.
Yeah.
Wish you best, like you said.
Yep.
Go get him.
Man, it's all bad news down here.
A little bit.
Nishiki Fuji, down from Maegashira 14 West to 17 East, 6-9. Once again, the man, by the skin of his teeth, he avoids Juryo. They must love him.
He is making a living as a tightrope walker.
Uh-huh. So he's on the edge once again. He's got to do well enough or he's going to be in Juryo. And the problem is that he's really hurt and he's not getting better. So we are just watching a man tight walk until it's over. That's all we can seem to expect for him. And I feel bad because I know he expresses such passion for the sport and wanting to do well. And there was a time where he was mini Terunofuji. And for some people, this is the path they end up on. They get hurt and they can't recover. So
I think we had said during the wrap-up show, like the saving grace for him is that he'll probably be fine in Juryo if he falls in.
Right.
And if we have visitors come up, he usually does pretty well against those.
Mm-hmm.
So will he cheat death again? Maybe. Will he get a 6-9 and stay in the top division anyway? It would be hilarious.
Probably.
Will he be doing well? Harder sell.
Yeah, I can't see well. I don't see well for him in the foreseeable future.
We want him to do well, but we just don't know how he'll get there.
This is a Yu Takayama.
We're getting there, yeah.
Yeah.
This is Yu Takayama. This is an Okinomi.
Well, the funny thing about Yu Takayama is he retires and then he gets in the best shape of his life, and now he's doing like MMA and he's running marathons and like he's not hurting like he was in sumo.
Yeah.
So
well, you don't have to do the diet. You can change your training regimen.
You're gonna be less injury prone if you're not that big. So like he can really put himself in the shape he wants to be in, and like he was a broken man in sumo. Now he looks great. So that could be Nishiki Fuji's future if just doesn't work out. You know, he's somebody who could get in fantastic shape. So best of luck. Hope it's a better year, but it's not looking great. Toki Hayate, Maegashira 17 West, down for 15 West with 6-9. I was surprised that he
got it over on Sada no Umi, which was I remember I had picked Sada no Umi to stay and Toki Hayate to go, and then the collective unconscious in the chat was like, nope, Sada no Umi's out. Toki Hayate holds on by the skin of his teeth, and look what happened.
They were right. A sad day. Sada no Umi gets pushed down. But, to the benefit of Toki Hayate, he's given a second chance, but he really needs to do something with it.
He's a struggler. He's fun to watch, but he's trying to find the win.
He seems very outclassed up here.
A little out muscled, a little outplayed.
He's gonna have to come up with some like magical moves to stay up here.
Yeah, sometimes you get that second chance and you run with it. Other times you just get another 6-9. So best of luck to him. Anybody needs our extra luck? Anybody needs the New Year, the bean throwing or whatever they do in New Year's? He needs as much luck as he can find.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing a Toki Hayate Yu show.
He's got the spirit. He's fun.
He's
got the potential, but it's not there yet.
Right, he's a little tiny man among giants who doesn't have the skill that, say, Midori Fuji has. And you look at Midori Fuji, and he's struggling.
So,
if you're Midori Fuji as talented as him, you're not going to survive the Toki Hayate's abilities.
Unfortunately not.
Now we can go look at the Juryo.
So, as we said, Sada no Umi gets the bump. So did Ryuden and Asakuryu, which sucked because he was fun.
He was fun.
Remember Shishi?
Oh, Shishi.
Also, Bushozan is all the way down here now.
He might not be coming back anytime soon.
Well, at 7, it's not going to be a springboard back. Like he needs to.
He'll be off to struggle.
So we've got Kaio, who's one of the names of New Hotness. We've got Aonishiki.
People have been excited for him.
Both of these guys, people talk about him. Shiden is a latest potential new veteran.
Okay.
So these are 3 people that are new to us that could be in the top division.
And then we have the fact that Sadano Umi is at number 1, so if he has just a decent tournament.
8 and 7, he's back. And then we have, then here's Tsurugi who's making a pushback
the
for
one-legged wonder.
The one-legged wonder.
I don't know how he does it.
Shirokuma is in the mix. Shimano Umi comes back out of nowhere. My buddy, he turned into a Juryo man, but
he did.
So this is a very almost every single person in the top 5. You're like, yeah, you could probably. So
we could have a swap again if the lower guys aren't careful.
There's been the last few tournaments. There's been a big turnover in the bottom here.
I know.
It's been interesting because it means that the people in Juryo are getting a little fiercer in the bottom of the division. Like all that push from the top, it's finally squeezing people out.
Yeah, it's like it used to be the top where all the excitement was. Now it's the bottom, like where all the changes are.
Well, if we want the tumultuous chaos that used to be everywhere, and that had its own weird fun. But now we've got a stable top, so all the chaos that goes on in the tournament is lower down when that Juryo wheel starts kicking people up. We have Koto Eiho held on. Both him and Nabatame were able to
barely
scrape by. So those are fan favorites. And so we have. Looking at this, I'm like, okay, people at the bottom of the top division, there's a lot of people who want your seat.
You better be very careful. And unfortunately, multiple of them I'm not so confident
there's
about.
There's not a lot of optimism going on down here.
No, I mean, you could see Kageyaki, Nishiki Fuji, Toki Hayate all having a bad tournament. Thomas Shoho, we don't know yet.
We don't know about him. Nishiki Fuji, he falls away. Hokuto Fuji, they can fall away.
Yeah, Hokuto Fuji's in the danger zone.
So look at that. Like, we may have a wildly crazy bottom in March.
The Juryo guys need to get themselves hyped because they have a chance.
This is your moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're Aonishiki, if you're Shishi, you thinking
I don't think Shishi's coming back anytime soon. I was not impressed.
Wow, everybody, the Shishi hate train is full.
Yeah, I hesitate to say that I hate, but I'm joking. Cringe. I get cringe, man.
He was. Yeah, he's.
I wish the best for him, but cringe was a major factor. So
there's some real caterpillar turning into a butterfly potential there, but but not yet.
So I want to do 2 things on this preview show. One, we have to pick our U-Show winner, but also we have to say like one thing that we think will happen in 2025. It can be generic. Doesn't have to be specific to a wrestler, but one thing you can expect by November 2025.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you might need a moment to think about that. But have you thought about your U-Show winner?
Well, I feel like any of these 3, and technically any of these 4.
Terunofuji really puts a monkey wrench in it.
Well, if he shows up, you're like...
Right, we don't even know if he's showing up.
So my question is, do we pick of the 3 Ozeki, or are we only going for underdogs?
I think we just pick... I think we pick who we really think is going to win.
Pick who you really think?
Yeah.
Onosato.
Okay.
Onosato just makes a lot of people cry.
I think Kotozakura is going to take it.
Okay.
And I hope I'm right, because I really want it done. So there's a little bit of like, I'm trying to make it happen, because I really want it done. I don't want to have this anxiety all year long about, are we getting a Yokozuna? Like, just get one now.
Get one.
Now.
If Kotozakura is promoted on an Onosato win, are you still happy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, if Onosato takes it, but Kotozakura is right there and gets Yokozuna, cool. Because I'm not necessarily attached. Like, what I want to happen is Hoshoryu to win the whole thing with the Zensho Yusho and become the Yokozuna. I just don't see that happening. But that's what I want. So anybody out in the 42 Opinions land, if you want to take that, take it. Because I'm bad luck for him. That's why I can't do it.
Okay.
But that's what I want. Anyway. Okay, so what do I think will happen in 2025? Okay. I think we will have 2 Yokozuna in 2025.
2 Yokozuna in 2025.
Not 3. Which is a scary prospect.
Well, I think it's possible. I think, it's a good goal to have, 2 Yokozuna.
Yeah, I'm not saying that 3 won't happen, but I'm saying that I think 2 will happen. I think 2 guys will set out ahead of the rest of the pack, and one guy's going to get left out, and that guy's going to be mad. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm not even going to predict. But right now, it looks like Kotozakura can just claim it And then it's Hoshoryu and Onosato fighting it out.
I think in 2025 we're going to have an Isegahama Yusho playoff.
Ooh, I would love that. Will it be in May when he retires?
I don't know who.
Uh-huh.
I don't know when.
Okay.
But it's due.
It's due. They have so many guys.
Because, well, now that we have Hakuoho, and we have Takeru Fuji, and maybe we get a Tommy Fuji popping off, and maybe
he's still in it. That would be something else. Like, that would really be a passing of the torch if, like, there was a playoff with two of the Isegahama and one was Terunofuji.
If it was Hakuoho versus Takeru Fuji.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to go that far as to pick the wrestlers.
Right, right.
And I will take half credit for brother playoffs or if it happens in a different stable.
Okay.
But I think it's most likely Isegahama, just the way that Isegahama is these days.
Yeah, they're so stacked. You would think it would have happened by now.
But it's like if Shirokuma does really, 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 really well in May, maybe it's with Onosato. I think because Shirokuma was the one who put this idea in my head. Because when he showed up when he did his first debut, he was just like, I want to be in a playoff with Onosato. I'm just like, I like this guy's energy. Then he crashes out back into jury.
It's like, come on, guy, you got to be as skilled as your predictions.
There's not a lot of people who talk game.
There's not
out the rip. There are a lot of
I'll do my best.
I
like the guys who come right out and say, yo, I'm doing this.
Yeah. Well, also particularly for Kotozakura and Hoshoryu, everybody's going in to be like, are you going to be Yokozuna? Are you going to be Yokozuna? And they're like, well, there is a rank higher than Ozeki that I would like to have.
Well, at least Kotozakura went to the grave.
Well, now they've pivoted. Now both Kotozakura and Hoshoryu are saying, no, I'm getting it. I'm going to call it now.
Well, Hoshoryu's doing like the marathon of marathons and bouts. He just keeps fighting and fighting and fighting like a nut. Are you guys hyped yet? Because it's going to be a crazy...
January is going to be very, very packed.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say anymore. We've covered them all. Our predictions could be completely wrong. This whole thing could get upheaved for all we know. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a nice start to the year.
Yep. Look forward to very spirited sumo. People fighting with absolutely everything they have. So somebody is going to get everything they want, which is also nice.
Yes.
One person here is going to say, I got my dream.
We're going to be able to celebrate somebody's accomplishment.
More than one person will not get their dream.
So you're going to have like this,
expect,
yay, and then,
there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. Something's going to happen that's going to make you sick to your stomach. Something's going to happen that you'd be like, I know I love sumo.
And you're going to spend like a week after the tournament's over just like pondering life.
Pondering it.
So, real quick, I say, for all of you guys who want this silly thing, like, comment, or subscribe. Come on, we need to get into the algorithm. It's driving me nuts. We've been stalled at 6:04 because I think we got completely kicked out of the algorithm. So like the video, please. It's not hard. And comment. Say things. We talk to you all the time. And have a good one. Have a good 2025. And have a great January tournament.
Thanks for listening.